Hello, listeners, and welcome back to the HB Studio Podcast with Tim and Kristin, Episode 9, or Part 4 of our enlightening series with John Bost. So John is going to share his insights on how to incorporate vision into the overall direction of an organization while understanding the nuances along the way. So we're going to explore the core principles of effective leadership, strategies to align vision with organizational goals, and tips on navigating the subtle complexities of leading a team. Please don't miss this inspiring conversation that's sure to elevate your leadership skills.
What are your thoughts, guys, on the lack of leadership with the younger generations now? It seems like people are a little bit reluctant to be in the leadership role because a lot of times it feels like a hot seat, or people lack the vision or the motivation. Or what would you say to a younger subset or a different subset of folks that may feel that little bit of calling in there to be a leader, but they just aren't sure what to do, how to get started, or how to step up? How would you encourage more leaders to come out of the woodwork?
I think they have to have confidence. I could say this as a 76-year-old.
You're 75, though.
75,
yeah.
And my wife. But I think they have to have confidence in the value add that elders can bring, which the dilemma with that is it's the very eldership in America that has brought us to where we are, to where younger generation now are suspect of leadership. And at the same time, there's got to be this sense of confidence that when that tension gets to a certain point, transformation occurs. And we're in a transformational moment. So that should excite people. If they have a sense of leadership, if they know how to dream, if they understand the whole trajectory of visioning. Visioneering is what some people say, because you have to engineer that vision to get to the dream.
Visionary,
so
I like that.
The whole visioneering piece, if that brings excitement, they should stay in the fray.
Man, trust
me. And it is a fray.
You got that right.
And people are wounded, and perhaps their reluctance to lead is some wounding. Even the culture and character of our nation right now is at risk because we've done a poor job of leading, and part of that, unfortunately, is the greed profit side of capitalism. We're in a late stage capitalism where it will have to correct itself. So I go on and on, but I won't.
Well, when you were in the educational sector,
sure,
and you're working with groups of kids, I mean, you put, to me, it's like a chamber of commerce. You have a very wide conglomerate of people.
Right.
Now, with you in education, that was your tying factor. That was the fabric, that the thread that was weaving through the fabric. Is that's people are there to learn. It's education.
It is.
You are supplying education. For a chamber of commerce, it's business community. So every group has this flavor. But when you had this variety of kids in a room and you're teaching them something, how did you see kids start to separate themselves from each other? How did you see leaders stepping up and people that were definitely better as support members?
So that kind of goes back to what John said about leadership, because as a teacher, you're the leader of the classroom necessarily. So it was my job to understand who needed what, where the motivation lied, and how to implicate that motivation. And then I could see as a leader who needed to be like second tier to the leadership, like a classroom leader type of, like a peer leader who needed to be in that realm, who I needed to put in that realm, which was normally like two or three kids out of the whole classroom of 30, right? And then I can understand, based on what I give them as a leader, I can understand who would benefit from being a part of that leadership, of being a part of the peer group, versus kids who really need my attention, the lower scale kids in terms of their academics. so I can focus on them, because I'm the leader of the room. So not only do I have the authority, I also have the training to understand what they need, as opposed to the peer group leadership who kids looked up to, but they were also great students. So that paired great together, right? You're only as good as your weakest link kind of situation. But in some situations, the leadership needs to take that training, that little extra something, and give it to the weakest link so they can catch up, right? And then I can be hands off completely, and we can go to another stage of learning.
That's exactly what we're taking. I mean, it takes a leader with a vision to help people with dreams. And so when you're teaching them, literally, what was the goal? What were you doing? Were you making music at this point? Like, what were you doing with your kids? What was the end goal that you could put this group with this and this group, and you're going to help these people? What was the synergy?
So, well, for me, it was their reading comprehension skills. It was how well they grasped what I was throwing at them, and the I guess you could say the velocity of which they got it, and that was like the nucleus of, okay, you're good.
The HB Studio Podcast is brought to you by the historic Roy Hill in Clemens, North Carolina. The opinions and thoughts presented on this podcast are that of Kristin, Tim, and their guests alone. Our goal is to bring positive motivation through real-life experiences and training as business professionals. Thank you for listening.